Hi there, welcome back. It's been a little while. Weather's pretty foul here. It's kind of hard to get much done right now, but I got an indoor project today, and this is my Victory Vegas. It's a 2013. I bought it used. It had 4,000 miles. I bought it in 2014, and I've done a few things to it since then. This is my hot rod motorcycle. This one is pretty scary fast. I had it all hopped up by Ryland Voss in near Des Moines, Iowa. The Vic shop. Took it over there on my way down to Bike Week in Daytona Beach. Stopped into Ryland's there for a couple days, and he worked it over and put it on his dyno and dynoed it up. It's coming in pretty close to 100 foot-pounds of torque, and he did great work on it. He cut the airbox out of it. He put in the torque tubes. He put in a Lloyd's timing wheel, and he did just quite a bit of tuning on it. Put a power commander on it and tuned each cylinder individually into all across the power bands. And I'll tell you, this thing is smoking fast. It's got the Freak Brothers straight pipes on it, and done a few other things. I put the this highway bar setup on here, the minimalist mirrors. I got a little GPS, just a Garmin on there, and I've got a Mustang seat. Let's see what else. Oh, billet. You call these things cheese wedges. It's a slang term for the cover that goes over this area right here. It's on both sides, and these are billet aluminum. Those are from Witch Doctor, and just very basically some stuff I picked up. A different cover there, some covers for the bolt ends on the front and back. I put the Kuryakin bullet LED turn signals on it, as well as the front, and I put the driving lights on. And these little covers right here that go over the adjusters here for the cam chain, and cam adjusters. What else have I done? No, there's a different cover over here on this side. Here, I'll bring you over. And so a different cover here. Cheese wedge on the side, billet aluminum, really nice, solid. YOLO air horn. These, which I tell you will rip the hell out of your leg if you're not watching what you're doing. I put the Kuryakin silver bullets on here, and these are the ones that run amber until you turn the blinker on, and then they flash. And then these are halogen driving lights. It's got this kind of odd duck looking headlight on here. So why did I buy this bike? Good question. Well, it's a fairly big motorcycle. It weighs in at about 700 pounds. And I just really liked the lines of it. It was developed by designed by Arlen Ness, rest his soul. And these are Arlen Ness mirrors, and you can see, if you look in here, that's the torque tube air intake. Ryland cut the airbox out of it and put these Lloyd's torque tube air intake with there's two cleansable air cleaners on there, and he put the power commander under the seat. And yeah, nice bike. It's beefier than a Sportster. It's more powerful. It's more sophisticated by a ton. I mean, this is a nice motorcycle. I really don't have any complaints about it, and it's just awesome to look at. It's too bad the Victory line, those bikes were sort of ahead of their time, and they just the guy that one of the Indian corporate guys I know said that there's the chieftain over there. One of the Indian corporate guys I know said, "Hey, you know, it's too," because I was kind of on him a little bit about about getting rid of the Indian line, and he said, you know, if these bikes said Indian on them, they'd sell like hotcakes, but because they say Victory, nobody wants them. So they were losing a lot of money with the Victory line. Doesn't make them a bad motorcycle. I mean, they were one of the most popular police motorcycles there for a while, and I mean, they'd been around a while before this one was made. And it's Polaris, you know, it's American made, and thing is just freaking awesome, dependable. Don't have a lot of miles on it. I think I'm up to somewhere close to, I don't know, maybe 8,000 at most. I don't ride it very often. It's kind of just a toy, so I take it out on nice evenings and ride it a little bit. I mean, of course, when I do most of my riding on the Indian here, which has 25,000 miles and a little north of 25,000 and a few more, pushing 2,100 or 25,100, and so that's like my, you know, my love of my life. But I really like the Victory too. It's a nice motorcycle, and it's a kind of a neat change of pace. It's entirely different, of course, than the Indian Chieftain, and it's a substantial motorcycle. The thing's a freaking rocket, and it's got a ton of power. It's got some weight behind it, and it's just a really nice bag, you know, no bags, no windshield, cruiser bike for a hot, you know, hot sunny evening, you know, out on the bike for a run. So there you go on that. So what am I doing today? It needs a battery. So I have a battery, brand new Yuasa battery, bottle supplied battery that I added the juice to and charged it up, and I'm gonna show you how that battery gets installed in this motorcycle right here. So glad you're here. Thanks for coming, and we'll get going on her pretty quick here. So this is the battery. That's some of that, what is it, Mule? It's Mule Head Red hand cleaner. If you haven't tried that stuff, man, try it. That's not the container for it, but that's really awesome hand cleaner. Watch Wes Work recommended that, and he's totally on that. I couldn't get it to pump out of the jug, the gallon jug, so I just put it in smaller containers. This is the battery I have here, and I got this on Amazon. It's the same one that the Indian Chieftain takes. I've had good luck with that battery. It's USA 12 volt, 18 amp hour, 310 cold cranking amps. And this is this part number that says BS. That means bottle supply. That means it comes empty. This little strip here, sealing strip, is not in it. The holes are all open, and the liquid is all in this array of bottles that are all hooked together, and you just stick them over that. There's some sharp, what should I call them, little sharp nibs here in under this, and you just cram that on there, and over a course of about 10 or 12 minutes, that all that liquid runs down into the battery, and then you give it a couple hour soak to let it's an absorbed glass mat battery, so you want the mats to soak up all of that liquid, and so it says wait at least 2 hours, and then you can put it on a 2 amp battery charger. So that's what it's just sitting here on right now, and the battery charger says that it's fully charged right now. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Comes with the nuts. This right here is a charging pigtail for my battery maintainer, but this is I think this one is 10 gauge, and so heavy wire. That's so you can use your little jump box and jump your bike. If the battery's dead, you can jump through this wire, and you can also charge your battery. The one that comes with the maintainers, it's like this size here, is too small. If you try to jump through it, it'll blow the fuse. So we're going to go to this one instead of the factory one that the maintainer came with, and we'll probably have to shorten this up and put some new ends on it because it's pretty long. And that's one of the projects that I want to do. But I want to be able to jump through my charging plug with my little square jump box. I've never been stranded by a dead battery out. My brother did, and thankfully I had the jump box, although we had to take practically down to the battery on the he's got an Indian Chieftain to jump that thing, and that's pain. So it'd be nice if you could do it right off of the charging. So I made some of these and we put them on our Indians, and they work real well. And so this one I bought already pre-made up by iGreeley, Amazon.com purchase, made in China, of course. And it's 10 gauge siliconized wire. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there too. Metric 6. It's kind of wedged in there. I'll get it when I get the seat off. Boy, is that thing buried. Holy cow. Yikes. I can get my finger on the edge of it. It's all the way out. It's really caught though. There it is. Got it. Okay, let's see what we got here. There's our other Allen right there. I had to fish that out. You need a plier for that. This is fuse box, obviously. It's not too bad of a rat's nest under here. You know how most motorcycles seem like they have way too many wires under the seat. This one's probably no exception. There's a power commander right there. Plugs in, data wire. This is the data wire. Runs around to the other side here. I'm not entirely sure why I need that, carry that around, but I guess it does keep it with the bike. This is the power module for the GPS, which I manufactured out of the cigarette lighter plug one, and I used some silicone sealant, and I cut the cigarette lighter plug part off because there's a little board in here that talks to the GPS and tells it, it gets its battery status and need for charge and all that kind of thing off this little board that's in here, and how much voltage to deliver it and so on and so forth. So this is Garmin's deal, and this battery is like totally shot, totally dead, so it's not lit up. And the problem is that thing does create a parasitic draw, so you kind of want to keep the battery on, or the GPS unplugged, and just plug it in every now and again. So what we have to do is we have to take, down here you can see, this side plate off the battery and get it out of the way, and then I think we can slide the battery out once we undo the terminals. So let's get on with that. I think it's going to be an M10. Can't swear to it, but I think so. I'm going to remove this data wire. I don't see any need to be carrying that around, and there's too much wire in that compartment. So I'm going to unplug that from the power commander, fish it out of there, and put the rubber plug in the power commander where it goes. And I'll just label this and keep it with the Victory stuff. So if I have to have this tuned again for whatever reason, it'll be good to go. I don't see any reason to carry that data wire. Alright, so we've got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires, and one of them is the charging wire for the battery tender. So let's undo this ground first and get it away from the terminal pole. Just take that screw all the way out. It's bound up. So these wires here, there's the three wires into a single fitting. Not sure what that's for. This is that charging wire, I think, for the battery tender, and this is probably just the main bike ground, I suppose. No, there's the main bike ground, the big one. I don't know, I'll have to sort it out here in a minute. There's a couple of inline fuses here. It's been a while, honestly. I can't remember what those go to. One of them's the battery tender, and the other one's probably the Garmin. Though I can't really remember. It's been so long since I put the Garmin on there. I don't really remember what I did that well. But you want to get these away so that they're not apt to go get on the negative here. Is you want that to be dead. You don't want any live power while you're monkeying with this battery. You always want to undo the battery first, especially like on the Indian where you're dinking around. And the engine control module is right over the top of the battery. It's got a plate that protects it, but you know, you sure don't want to blow your engine control module. And so I'm just going to pull these wires away. And they're all the red ones are pretty well marked. We know what those are. This one's got a red cap on it. Okay, so the next move is going to be to some Allen wrenches there. The next move is to remove these, and I think that's going to be an M10. Yep. Bike is all metric, which I prefer, frankly. I prefer metric over the SAEs. You know, it's just easier to. I can judge them better by eye, and I just prefer it. Your mileage may vary. Okay, there's those. Set that all aside. And I think this comes off now, like that. And if we're careful here, we should be able to just slide this battery out. It doesn't look like a stock battery to me at all. It's sitting down into this a little bit, so it's going to need to be. Going to need to tip, get it unstuck first. Probably going to have to pull all these cables out of the way. Make some room. It's tight fit. Let's see if we can stick these. Just make sure you don't miss one when you put it back together, make sure you get them all on there, right? Because you'll be have a problem and you'll be going, what the heck? And then you figure out you've got some wires off, or a wire off. Ask me how I know. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is put these nuts in here. Give me something to get a hold of. I know this is how it's done. I wonder if we need to tip this. I can't imagine we'd need to undo this battery tray. This doesn't look like the stock battery to me at all. I don't know if I replaced this or if the guy I bought it from did. Can't remember. Been too long ago now. We gotta get this crap out of here. I just don't know fully what it all is yet. We're gonna find out though. Oh, it's that's the charging pigtail right there. Let's see. Ain't gonna come, man. Okay, that must mean that we have to take this out, and I'm guessing there's another one over here somewhere that we take out. You see it? I don't know that I don't know where it is, would be, but let's take this one out and see if that doesn't give us enough clearance. Maybe, I don't know, doubt it. Oh. Come on. Come on, baby. Let the good times roll. Whoa. All right. It's okay. I'm okay. Still got all 10 fingers. It's a shitty battery anyway. It's a shot battery anyway, so just glad it didn't land on my cool chrome thing, because that's an add-on. It's something I bought somewhere. I don't remember where. Just kind of give it a little. These bikes. This is an 8-ball Vegas, which is sort of a. The 8-ball means it's like the dark horse, blacked out version, and honestly, it's too much black. I mean, you know, you see these dark horse Indians, the black ones with the matte paint, and everything on the bike is black. Some guys like that. I do not like it. It's my own personal preference. I don't care for it. Okay, so this red wire here is fused. And that is, I believe, the power for the driving lights, now that I think back. And then this is the pigtail we're going to get rid of and put on a bigger wired one with a heavier fuse so that we can jump start the motorcycle through it. So, okay, battery's out. That's how you get it out. Hopefully you don't drop it on the floor like I did. Alright, here we are on the other side, and what we're going to attempt to do now is fish this wire here out. I gotta be sure I think I have the right thing here. That is the power to the GPS, this thing. So that's different than what we're trying to get out of here right now. Or is it? No, that's the GPS power. That's the other end of this. So that's not what we want to get out of here. we want to get out of here this wire. Let's go back to the other side. This wire, this is what plugs into the battery tender. We want to get that out. So we're going to change that out. Get that unclipped. And kind of try to work it through as gently as possible without messing anything up. There we go. So, okay, so that was the battery tender. This other thing, that's the power for the GPS. And this one, this is the power for the driving lights. So, okay. So we're ready to run our new wire for the jumper. So we'll just go ahead and unplug the tender, unhook it, and that battery is ready to roll. There's an assortment of bolts, long and short, the square washers for various applications. And this here is the wire we want to put in next. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about the jump box, right? Hang on, I'll grab one. This thing right here, I'm no electronics genius. This is not Mr. Carlson's lab here. This is Mr. Craig's garage. And this thing, I think, has capacitors in it. And it's got some kind of like a LiPo battery, maybe lithium polymer, some sort of lithium battery. And this thing will start a full-size passenger car. I used to have a Ford Crown Victoria in '99, and I jumped that car. It was click 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 dead, you know. And all you do is you take these jumper cables and they plug in somewhere. Right here. They plug in, and then you just go ahead and hit the on button, and it gives you, it's fully charged up when you see all these lights. And then you hook this up first, unplug this in, then turn it on. And I kid you not, this thing will jump start your full-size V8 passenger car. So it's pretty cool that way. So it's nice because you can carry it. I think it turns itself off. No. Oh, and it has a flashlight, and it turns itself off after a few minutes. So these things are pretty inexpensive, like maybe $100 or less on Amazon. This one, actually, somebody gave me this as a gift. So I didn't buy this one, but I made this for it, which is this same plug arrangement that I've sourced somewhere. Maybe McMaster Car, or I don't really recall where I sourced this at. But I went ahead and I cut the... It's big gauge. I cut the, no, I remember now what I did. I ordered a second one of these plugs. And it had this already, and so I just got rid of the alligators, and I put that fitting that goes to your jump box. And that's the 10 gauge wire on that, and that's going to go, this one's going to be on the battery. And then this is always accessible on the bike, it just hangs out by the motor, you just tuck it up. And then I'll be able to plug this together and jump start, the motorcycle with it. So that's what we're doing with this. If you're just changing your battery, obviously you won't need this, but I kind of highly recommend that you see it's off now. I highly recommend you set your bike up with one of these, and you just plug this thing in the wall every once in a while and charge it up, so that when you're out on the bike, should you wind up with a dead battery, you'll have a way to get your bike started. and you won't have to dig around in the battery compartment like we're doing now, which, as you can see, is kind of a pain. So let's go get this installed. So I'm going to run this just like right through here and try to come out as close as possible to the battery, like there. But I want this is a 30 amp fuse holder, so that's good to go. That sucker's set up, and I kind of like to have that sort of hidden though, or at least out of sight, out of mind. You know, the side cover's on here, so it's going to hide it to some degree, but I think that's, I guess that's installed. We'll probably finalize it once we get the battery in. So we'll just, that battery's tight. You cannot have anything over the top here when you're doing this. So I just got that threaded up through there. I'm just going to kind of get it out of the way for now, and we'll get the new battery in, and then we'll finalize all this. We'll get it all high and tight. Isn't that what they say in the military? High and tight. Marine Corps, maybe? Yeah, so we'll do that. But I just want to make sure I get all these wires crammed up out of the way here so I can get this battery in without fumbling it. It's kind of cruddy in there, kind of dirty looking. Let's clean that up. Okay, and I've got my Harbor Freight stool I'm sitting on here. I had to I got a kick out of it. Some guy in a comment said to me on, I don't remember which video anymore, maybe when I rebuilt the parking brakes on the big diesel pickup that I've got, a Ford F-250 with a 7.3 in it. I rebuilt the parking. That video's on here. You can look at it if you want. If you have a Ford, I'd look at it. If and you're planning to do the parking brakes, otherwise I wouldn't bother. But at any rate, the guy says to me, you know, I'm concerned for your health of using that Harbor Freight stool. And I thought, yeah, I know it's Chinese, so yeah, it could be dangerous. But I said, you know, I've scuba dove using mixed gases, wearing a rebreather to 300 feet deep in the ocean on a rusty old Japanese shipwreck from World War II, that I did a solo penetration at almost 300 feet of depth, was down there on that wreck for 58 minutes and did almost a 7-hour deco to get back up, and that was over in the Pacific there. And dove in caves, skydived. I don't skydive anymore. 2 surgeries in a year. That I wasn't very good at it. But I have skydived. I was a firefighter paramedic for a city fire department, working on the medic units and fire apparatus, fire engines for 36 years. And I figure I've traveled the world scuba diving, and I've done a lot of stuff. I'm even foolhardy enough to ride motorcycles on the street after all I've seen and had handed to me. I will say, let me say this, just as an editorial comment on motorcycle safety. Corners, man. Corners and fixed objects. And drinking while you're driving your bike. I would have to tell you this, and I mean this with all honesty, and I think my peers would back me up on this. I saw a lot of people go to their final reward, you know, seated on their motorcycle. And I will tell you, the vast majority of them were not people getting hit by 75-year-old women who can't see, like my mother, driving a passenger car. That's not how they got it. They got it straightening out corners. And that's most of the fatalities that I saw would be somebody that took a corner too fast, whether they meant to or not, and didn't negotiate the corner and hit a fixed object like a telephone pole. Is a all-time favorite. So at any rate, back to the Harbor Freight stool story. I said if I get greased on my Harbor Freight stool, I won't have too much to complain about. So I like my Harbor Freight stool. I mean any stool like this would be fine. It doesn't have to be a Harbor Freight one. Okay, so that's cleaned out. I'm rambling. Might as well get the battery and put her in there. Maybe it's like a Chinese finger puzzle. Ooh, I think I might have cracked the code. Shit, that was nothing. Okay, so put the top in under this bar, then scoot the bottom in there, and it drops in past this edge right here. So it can't fall out now. And then this here fastener, you don't need to dink with that. Just tighten that one right back up. Oops, you're looking the wrong way. This fastener, you don't need to dink with that. We'll just tighten that right back up. Don't worry about that. And I guess the best method is get all your wires clear from the top. Everything clear there. Then raise this up a little bit. Maybe you'll be able to slip a screwdriver in underneath there and then slip it out from the bottom, because if you try to flip it out from the top, it runs into the bottom of this bar. I mean, I bet you there isn't. I don't think there's a 1/4 inch between that bar and the top of that battery. Okay, so now the Yuasa's in there. We're squared away on that. And I'm just kind of going slow here because A, I'm not in a hurry. It's evening, I don't really have anything else to do. And B, I want to kind of review all this for myself and get it, I kind of want to get it so it's, you know, it's clean, like it's going to be, you know, a good install. I'm going to scoot that back down under there, which is motorcycle. That's something having to do with the ground, some of the motorcycle grounds, headlight, that kind of thing, I suppose. Not sure what actually these grounds are from. And then we got, so I think what we'll concentrate on now is getting all of our cables back in place cleanly as possible. I don't know the best, I mean, it's got to go right there. So, you know, maybe we don't want that there. Maybe we want that. Let's see here. This is positive, that's positive. This is negative over here, obviously. So, yeah, they don't give you much room, do they? Okay, that was pretty good there. Kind of don't want that red wire riding up under this tube, vibrating up under there till it goes to dead short. That would suck. Okay, and this wire here, I guess we'll just sort of, it's a positive for the driving lights. So let's get it fished under. Like that. Might be nice to label that too before I close this all up, so I know what's what next time. I don't have to monkey around too much. Okay, this is your wire for the GPS, positive and negative, so it's got to go in here. This goes to positive, so there's that. Then there's this, and I think that's all the positives. Then this here is ground, so we got to get that under all this mess. I'll just lay it in like so. So I got this ground, I got this ground, which is my battery. This is my battery tender. I might not have to shorten this up. It's actually not too bad. It just isn't any really good way to get it hidden. Not hidden, but stowed or whatever. I guess that'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna hook your positive side up first, and make sure your ground is not getting touched by any of your ground wires, just so that the motorcycle will not be energized. And if you hook your positives up first, hook your ground up last. So let's take a peek at what they gave us here. They gave us if I can get it out of the bag. They gave us a little hardware thing. Important mount hardware as shown. Okay. Alright. Well, great. Of course. Now, since we got so many wires that have to attach, I'm going to just experiment here with the long one. And this little guy here, they're all the same thread, you better be. Okay, and so I'm gonna slip this in this hole here. Let me get in. So we slipped the narrow one in here. Okay, and I'm gonna use the long bolt. I'm gonna try the long bolt because of the number of fasteners that connectors that have to go on here. And I'm just gonna, let's see here, I'm gonna put the big guy on the bottom. I'm gonna put the tender on next, and then I'm gonna put the two fuse blocks, the one for the GPS and the one for the driving lights. The driving lights, again, I added. There's an on-off push button on the left handlebar that turn them on and off. I just leave them on all the time. Okay, so let's put this guy on last. So that'll be first. Then this one. Then this one. Then this one. That's an awful lot of bolts sticking down. I don't know that'll get tight. It might. I suppose it will. Let's just go with that idea. Get your screwdriver handy there. Let's get it away from that metal edge. Kind of try to keep your wires from riding. Make sure they're fastened well away from any sharp edges, because with all the vibration, sooner or later, trust me, when you least need it to happen, that thing's going to go to ground and blow your main fuse or one of your fuses out somewhere, cause a dead short and blow a fuse, and then you're going to go, what the hell's wrong with my motorcycle? So okay, that's good and tight. These are nice and clean. I kind of thought about cleaning them, but they look factory. Okay, then over here we got our ground side. So let's kind of sort of wiggle these around and figure out how that looks best. Somehow this guy came popping out of where we had it. Probably have good luck getting it in now. Let's see. Maybe I'll sneak it around there. really like it in there. I didn't even notice it came out. It's sort of hard to see there in there. And grab a tool if I can see the thing. He's in there. He's in there somewhere. There it is. Sometimes it just takes a tool. This isn't siliconized. I thought it was. I thought it was advertised to be. It's Shunhan Chinesium. It's made out of Chinesium. I'll probably wind up owning us one day here, not too distant future. I'm almost terrified to think of it. I don't think we're ready to fight the Chinese or anybody else at this moment. Too busy indoctrinating our military with crazy ideas. Okay, I shouldn't wax political on YouTube. I'm going to get myself kicked off. Okay, here we go. I think what we'll do is we'll go and hook up our grounds now. First off, I'm going to take a good look and make sure that nothing that I cramp. Oop, look, nope, that one. Okay, we're good there. Make sure there's nothing crammed up in here that I put in here to keep up out of the way. Oh. Let's get this. Okay. Get you set back up here again on your tripod. I don't see anything that I missed. So I'm seeing 4 grounds. If I recall, that's what we counted. So, ooh, I do see one issue though. I wonder now if we're going to be able. I wonder now, let me get you over here, you can see what I'm doing. I wonder now if we're going to be able to, oh, for Pete's sake, to get this into that deal. Maybe not. I'll have to tip the battery out a little or something. Oh, come on, really? Ooh. Okay, so yeah, there's a little parasitic draw. I just had a little jump. That's just probably this GPS unit. It's a very tiny parasitic draw, but stupid me, I didn't and now with these wires all crammed up in here, I don't think I can move this enough to get that in there. No way. Okay. Well, you know what that means. We do it right, because we do it twice. That noise in the background is my furnace. I'm lucky enough to have my furnace in my garage, which is awesome, because it's 37 degrees outside right now. Not exactly motorcycle weather. It's 37 degrees outside right now, and I will tell you, which isn't really much compared to what some people live with. I'm in Washington State. I'm west of the mountains, the Cascade Range, and what did I do with that thing? Oh. I'm west of the Cascade Range, so kind of a maritime climate. Average temps run somewhere in the 40-ish range. And I have to redo this whole thing. 40-ish range. Maybe. No, that was sort of a critical error we made there. I made there. You didn't make it. My fault. not noticing that that should have went in before I shoved this battery in this hole. I just didn't think it mattered. But yeah, it does. Trust me on that. It freaking matters. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to get this thing back out. Maybe if we take a see, with the wires in there, ain't happening, dude. It's just not happening. Get that out of the way, get that out of the way. This big ground wire, that thing's a bugger. Almost need to zip tie that out of the way. Whoa, don't go too far. Did you see how I did that? I stuck the screwdriver in this hole right here. I lifted it till it cleared the bottom of the battery tray, the little lip that's down there, and that baby wants to come right on out of there. So there's how you do it. I'll tell you, I like the Indian better when it comes to dinking with the battery, because the Indian's easy to get the battery in and out of. Okay, so to put it back in, remember we're going to tip it forward like yay and push it in from the bottom. Kaboom. And there's our thing is back in there. Now we got to kind of fish our cables through again that we need. I probably talked too much, but I mean, what else have we got to do? I mean, you're watching. If you're watching, you know, you're listening. I mean, what do you want to just sit there and watch me? So I might tend to pontificate and ramble and wax on about this and that. You know, while I got this open, let's check this fuse. Ooh, see, that was half in and half out. That fuse looks good. That's your, like I say, that is the GPS power. Okay. Okay. That was just sort of, that fuse box, or fuse was just kind of sitting about you there. So what we were going to do, we were going to put this one, the littlest wire, and then the next littlest wire, and then the next littlest wire, and then the big old major power cable for the bike. And that's going to be on the battery direct, because we want that to make the best contact and get the full effect of its 310 cold cranking amps in this made in Japan Yuasa battery here. I think it's made in Japan. They used to be back in the day. Back when I rode Hondas and stuff. Yuasa batteries and Nippon Denso speedometers, and for all you Honda aficionados out there, that isn't tight. Look at that. Now here, look at this. This is tight, but look at this. That's no good. Bolt's too long. So we're going to switch to the shorter one, which is actually one of the instructions spec'd for that particular battery nut gizmo that's in that hole. They said the short one goes with that, but I was more interested in using the long one, but I guess it's going to wind up being the shorty. And I never throw all my battery nuts away, because invariably, some point, you might add something and find out that you need a longer bolt, which is sort of what it's looking like we're going to need here. So see, that doesn't fit. So I'm pretty sure the ones that came out of the old battery were kind of like right in the middle. Yep. There's the short and the stock one. And there's the other one. Now I could cut these off, but you got a horse around, you know, dinking with they don't want to start in the threads or what have you. So we're going to use their little narrow battery nut deals, and we're going to use the stock battery bolt that came with the bike, or the last battery that was in the bike. This bike, let's see, how old is that now? Do the math. God, you know, it's a 13. So she's going to be 9 here pretty quick, fellas. That has to be the second battery I just took out of it, I would have to say. But I don't really remember replacing it, but I wouldn't put it past me. Not for a second that I actually replaced it. Just don't remember. Got too many other things on my mind. I'm a retired fella, you know. Got a lot on my mind. Okay, that's a ground. That's your wire. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 wires on the positive side. Let's see if we can't bring these under now. And then we can maybe work on getting some of the stuff arranged a little more cleanly. And we're not going to have that big data cable for the power commander here, so we'll have maybe a little more room. Okay, I just don't like that sharp edge there, you know. Just don't. Hang on, I'm going to get just a little piece of loom, see if I can cram it around, just to protect against this battery bracket edge right here and these 2 hot wires. Those are hot, man. If those go to ground there, you have a short. You blow those fuses is all, but then you won't have your driving lights or your battery charger. You have to take the seat apart and monkey with it, so best to try to prevent it. Okay, back at you. Let's get that up there, like so, and just leave it right there. I mean, that's going to protect these guys. It ain't going nowhere. It's kind of caught on a few things in here. There's not much room for it to move, so it's just going to protect these guys from going dead short against that kind of sharp piece of metal. It's painted and it's rounded, but enough miles, man. That thing could short. Okay, now I almost think it's better to have the ground under the hot. I should have probably done that before I hooked it up. I wonder how many times I'm going to hook and unhook all this crap before I get happy with the way it's looking. So it's on, it's lit. Alright, now for the really fun part. Here in a minute we're going to put the Mustang seat back on. So let's talk about the Mustang seat for a minute. I didn't like the stock Victory seat that came on it, so I've spent the money on a Mustang seat. And if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't buy the Mustang seat. I'm sure their stuff is decent. It's a nice seat. It's just a royal pain in the ass to get it back on the motorcycle after it's been off. You take it off, good Lord, getting it back on by yourself is a fight. Okay, got that one. Should have left the camera on. It wasn't that long, but I just had to sit there and kind of think about it for a minute. See, now this one lines up fine. This one's no big deal. So, but getting that other side in, that is not fun. You got to really haul on that seat to get it to line up. This one's kind of, I don't know if it's tweaked on there, they just didn't get it on straight. And it wouldn't take much, but other than that, you know, it's a comfy seat. It's leather, it's the real deal. You know, it's nice workmanship. I like the braid, I like the conchos, you know. I spec'd it all out the way it is, you know, black stitching, black this, all the chrome conchos. But think about it, if you're going to get a seat for your bike, think about the Corbin. Let's pull this up again. Everything good, right? See anything that doesn't look good? That's tight. Look at all that crap. And then when I ride, I'll just tuck this kind of up in there. This out of the way, like, you know, kind of sort of out of sight, out of mind, and take our, get the fingerprints off. All right, moment of truth. Whoa, we got headlights. Whoa. Back in service. The hot rod bar cruiser. I don't drink, but I do bar hop once in a while with my friends. I'm the designated rider. Not really. I don't really recommend people drink when they ride. You know, I already talked about that. You know, a beer, 2 beers, maybe okay. But boy, I tell you what, everybody I saw greased to my job was too fast and too drunk. So there you go. That's how I did this one. And we have a new battery, and we have a pigtail right down here that's suitable for jump starting the bike with a 30 amp fuse. Should be more than enough, I would think, to start it. And yeah, I love it. It's a great bike. Victory Vegas, 2013 Victory Vegas 8-ball with some extra chrome that I put on it. Chromed it up a bit. Got rid of the factory blinkers, which were ridiculous. Got rid of the factory mirrors. They were ridiculous. Added some more forward lighting. Great bike. I'm very happy with it. Thanks for coming over.